This is the 36th edition of the program on the station. Of course, this morning we'll be looking at what I call hashtag Nigeria Decides 2019. Of course, on the program in the last few weeks, we'll be looking at hashtag Nigeria Decides 2019. And of course, our main focus this morning is election postponement, the costs and effects. The cost and effect of the election postponement is what we're looking at this morning. Of course, basically the objective this morning, is to articulate from listeners' perspective the cost and the perceived effect of the postponement of the election that was supposed to take place on Saturday, the 16th of February, year 2019. You will agree with me that last Saturday, Nigerians were ready to vote candidates of their choice, only to wake up to the news of election postponement few hours to the polls. Many Nigerians had traveled several thousands and hundreds of miles just to participate in elections, and the effects and the cost of this development can be best examined this morning on the program. Of course, prior to the day of election, INEC had assured Nigerians of the readiness to conduct elections, hence the rude shock on Saturday, 16th February. Of course, we would take time to open the lines for our callers to be part of the program this morning. But of course, I have guests in the house this morning who will be doing the talking. Of course, why I ask when necessary, of course, agree with me that we're looking at the postponement of election and main focus, the cost and effect. I have two guests in the house this morning. I have Mr. Sola Fagorusi. He's the Executive Director, One Life Initiative. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me on the program this morning.
All right, I have a dogged human rights lawyer, an activist this morning in the house. I have with me Mr. Femi Borishade. You're welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm sure you'll agree with me that over the years he's been known for his dogged and bold speeches and factual too. And I've enjoyed him on this program before, so we're having him again. Let's begin. I want to begin with the Executive Director of One Life, Mr. Sola Fagorusi. How, the postponement of election, to you, how do you see it? When you got that information, how was it like to you? We've been waiting for, a couple of months, weeks for the election, and suddenly you woke up early in the morning, or you got the information at midnight that the election has been postponed. Maybe one of those fake news.
Okay, so I was still up at midnight when eventually I read news and saw information that INEC had decided in its own wisdom to actually go ahead and postpone, the 2019, elections. Of course, like every other Nigerian, I was disappointed. This was 5 hours, 15 minutes to the commencement of the poll. When INEC actually made that, announcement. And, what was even more, disturbing was the reason that was adduced, for making that announcement. So INEC gave us this very ambiguous, reason, saying that because of logistics, that's exactly why he could not actually go ahead to perform its duty, which we had all waited in the last 4 years. The election was supposed to be a carnival of sorts. Nigerians had waited to say, look, so like we did in 2015, we were either going to be changing government or going to be retaining, the present administration on the basis of what each person actually felt at the end of the day at the poll. So it was about people going out there to actually ensure that they cast their votes. And it was also going to be interesting in the sense that we also wanted to see that of the over 80 million of Nigerians that had actually registered to vote, were we going to have a lot in terms of people coming out to vote? The percentage that 51% of voters were actually young people. Were we going to see a change in terms of this? So overall, I think it was undeserving. It was disturbing. It was disappointing that we had an electoral body that we had all, cast our faith on. And to have listened to the INEC, chair himself several times come on air and say that, look, it's not just the 2019 elections that we have dates for. We even have the dates for the 2023 elections, and onward. So it was really disappointing to say the least.
All right, let me get back to Barrister Femi Aborishade. What's your take? How was it like to you, getting to know that the election was actually postponed? And a lot of people came up to say, look, is this a rumor or is it real?
Actually, like many other Nigerians, I was shocked. I was sad. I was disappointed. It's a reflection of the unacceptable impunity. Unacceptable impunity. I didn't know what to take, whether to accept it as true or not. I felt maybe it was fake news. So I needed to consult some people who confirmed that they were awake and actually it was real. The postponement was real. It is shocking. The system that we are copying, the presidential system, is the American system. I contacted a friend who has been living in the US for the past 40 years. And he confirmed to me that in 40 years of his life in the US, not in any one state of the US, not for once in any of the federal elections, had the elections be postponed on INEC. INEC had not less than 4 years to plan, only to tell us that due to logistics problems. No, it is unacceptable. Because when we look at it, under the Constitution, the only ground for the postponement of any election is under Section 26 of the Electoral Act. In the event of the likelihood of violence, disturbance of the peace, INEC could then postpone. Under the Constitution, under Section 105 and Section 64 of the Constitution, elections could only be postponed on the ground of the country being involved in a war situation, in which, not just being involved in a war, but that war should show convincingly that it is practically impossible to conduct elections, in which case the National Assembly would have to pass resolution postponing the election for about 6 months, not more than 6 months in the first instance. There is no ground for the postponement, no legal ground for the postponement of the election on ground of logistics problems. It's a reflection of ineptitude, unacceptable one of that at that. It's a reflection of incompetence. And things like this should not happen without people bearing consequences. It is because people have not been bearing consequences for their actions and inactions that election postponement has more or less become a culture. People are angry. People want to punish political parties electorally for non-performance, for having put them in an unprecedented poverty, only to be told that the opportunity for either renewal of their mandate or the seizure of the mandate, in which case new parties, new faces, may come in. The opportunity was dashed. It is unacceptable.
All right, the program is Office of the Citizen on Inspiration 100.5 FM, and we're discussing hashtag Nigeria Decides 2019. I'm sorry about that. Election postponement, the costs and the effect. Of course, you just heard the voice of Barrister Femi Aborishade, a human rights activist, and I have with me here too Mr. Sola Fagorusi, the Executive Director, One Life Initiative. All right, Barrister, you said so much, and I also tried to pick some points from some of those things you have said. Again, you have said the only reason why the election could be postponed is in the case of war.
Under the Constitution.
Under the Constitution.
Sections 105 and 64.
The election was postponed in 2015 and there was no war.
And that is what we mean. That
yes, you also said that it's because it has become a trend. That's why, people or the INEC postpone elections without following the Constitution. And of course, at this point, what do you think, or what is the Constitution saying in terms of the body postponing the election without due consultation with the National Assembly? Don't forget, even the president said he was not aware of this decision to postpone election. I mean, what should be the punishment for the commission for not consulting according to the Constitution and taking such decision?
Well, in the first place, we should not take what government officials say on the face value. An investigation, a judicial, investigation should be carried out to establish what happened, what really happened. Because it is one thing for government officials to say, no, we were not consulted. It is a different thing to give proper opportunity for those who have been accused to actually tell Nigerians the truth. Secondly, in terms of the punishment, there must be consequences for actions and inactions. It may be difficult for now to say Professor Mahmood should be removed. Otherwise, the reality, the conduct of the election may actually, not take place as soon as possible. But after the election, investigation should be carried out and appropriate penalties should be meted out to those who caused it. If it is ineptitude, just sheer ineptitude, and not on the basis of any political directive from any of the parties or undue influence, then of course, such a person, the name of such persons should be in the black book of Nigeria, such that Nigerians should know that these names should never feature in any public assignment again. Whatever the cost may be, as far as the earnings, the legitimate earnings of the public officials who are concerned may be, whatever the cost may be in terms of financial costs, such costs should be taken from them. They should be deprived of any pecuniary benefit they enjoy in terms of their position. And if possible, their offenses should be looked at from the point of view of the Electoral Act, because it is nothing but sabotage that they have caused.
All right, Office of the Citizen on Inspiration 100.5 FM. Mr. Fagorusi, yes. I'd like to quickly ask you, with all of this that we've seen, and based on the Constitution, do you actually think that our independent National Electoral Commission is independent?
Okay, so again, I think it's also important to look at this, holistically, to say that what INEC was supposed to do, which is actually started with in terms of its mandate to actually conduct election, would really have been easier if we had several of the other institutions in the country also functional. So if you think logistics, for example, if we take it at face value that logistics is the problem, so you would think an institution like NIPOS, for example, will have been in the picture. You would think that an institution like the Nigerian Airways, if it was available, would have been able to fix some of these problems way beyond now. Possibly we would not even be talking of 189 billion naira for the cost of election, because again, you would have to pay different private institutions to actually make this happen. So if structures like good road network were actually available in the country, for example, you understand that electoral materials will have been able to get to some locations, earlier than they should. Here in Oyo State, for example, There are locations where you have to travel 5 hours for distances not more than 3 hours. So again, he also points to, I've seen the 35-page document that INEC has. He calls it, the Strategic Program of Action 2017 to 2021. So INEC has this document. Let me help you with, section 1.1, section 1.11 of this, document. This is on page 11 of the document. So INEC says it has planned for election logistics, transportation, and implementation of reverse logistics. Now, what does this mean, in INEC Recon? It's a beautiful document that entails, what was supposed to happen in the first quarter, second quarter from 2017 up until 2021, and of course, putting the 2019 election into the picture. So it talks about MOU with NURTW and other transport unions like FRSC. It talks about market survey on election transportation. And so INEC fails in its responsibility to say that, look, so again, you also talk about institutions like, the Consumer Protection Council. We've always complained several times when we are delayed at the airport to say, look, and the airlines will say, there's nothing you can do about this. Your ticket is not refunded. You have to, there were days when I was supposed to come into Ibadan, we have to go and route through Lagos, and nobody bore, any of those costs. Now, the chicken has come home to roost because the same excuses INEC was saying it was about poor visibility. And then you're asking the question that, so I looked at the entire document, there was nothing about, air transport. The closest allusion I can give to this is to say they have a section there that talks about review committee on logistics. So, peradventure, INEC had thought in its wisdom that instead of using road transport for some of these things, air transport was going to work. Again, you look at the failure of the railway system. These are not, direct faults of INEC, but one would have thought that an institution like INEC, for example, will have been proactive to say, look, what are alternatives A to doing this? Say we want to do air transport. What if air transport fails on this day? Are there other alternatives like the railway system, which of course is not as functional as it should? Are there other alternatives like the road transport, system? Can we even talk about security, on the road itself? So these are very deliberate issues. These are real issues that, should be considered. Again, if you look at the entire framework of logistics, there are people who go to university to get an entire degree about logistics. Logistics is not as simple as it sounds. I think it will have benefited us all if INEC had come with clean hands to say, look, these were exactly the problem. Logistics in what part of the country? Was it from point A to point B? Was it in the northern part of the country? Was it in the south? Was it in the southeast, or was it in the southwest? But overall, issues like traceability also comes into the picture. Again, INEC is saying that its offices, in Anambra, in Plateau State were actually burnt, and then you are beginning to talk about other institutions again, like the fire service. INEC, knowing that it was going to conduct election, for example, you will have thought it would have the fire service number on speed dial. Where is the security? The budget of the election was talking about 50 billion naira. Was it 50 million or 50 billion naira for feeding for police officers? So where did all of these expenses go into, such that we could not nip that in the bud and prevent, the burning of INEC offices at this crucial time of the year? Again, you also want to look at issues around, regulation of, what we even have in the electoral. So INEC says that, there should be no campaigns, for example, as before the election. Pray how you define, even campaigns. So advertisement boards you have all over town, for example. Is there a lot to say, look, strip off all those things out of the road so that we know that there is now a level playing field for all of this? So again, you see a reflection of a weakened institution. You see, major gaps in our infrastructural, in our infrastructural facilities across the country, and then you are beginning to see a telling effect on an institution like INEC. We've been talking about national ID card for months. So he explains again why you can't even have INEC, do what you call out of country voting. If we just want to vote, within the country here, and we are messing it up this way. So how do we even talk about voting across all the embassies of Nigeria and other locations? And in addition, again, you are deploying, different security institutions, about 16 of them. You are going to be using core members, for example. These people, strategic people who should also be thinking about voting. So we should even be talking about early voting or special voting as well. So if we can't get it right in the concept of just, the general election, then, it's obvious that it might be difficult to actually score it right in these areas. All
right, the program is Office of the Citizen on Inspiration 100.5 FM. Well, I'd like to go on this commercial break. When we come back, you're going to listen to Barrister Femi Aborishede and Mr. Sola Fagorusi. Of course, we're still on the discussion. Hashtag Nigeria Decides 2019 election postponement, the costs and effect. And then when I come back, we'll also pick calls. The numbers to call are 0909 888 1500, 0909 888-1500 or 0703-232-4940. 0703-232-4940. You can also send us WhatsApp messages on 080-9192-1005. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ibadan, what's up?
100.5.
Number one, Family Radio.
This is good news for parents and guardians who want their children and world to attend a school born out of passion, vision, and mission to raise future leaders at tender age.
Pathfinder College, Samanda Ibadan is the place to be. Our learning environment is serene and conducive, well equipped with library, laboratory, and boarding facilities. Entrance examination into JSS 1 and 2, SS 1 and 2 for the 2019-2020 academic session will come up on the 20th of April, 22nd of June, and 3rd of August 2019. 95% of the 2016, 2017, and 2018 sets are in various tertiary institutions within and abroad. Forms are obtainable at Pathfinder College, Samanda, Ibadan, opposite Jesus is King Ministries, Songo UI Road, Ibadan. For inquiries, call 0803-324-0047 or 0803-384-8838.
Pathfinder College, we explore the uniqueness of your child to excel.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká fààyè gba ìfẹ́ àti àlàáfíà. Má ṣe ṣe jàgídíjàgan, dìbò, má ṣe jà. Inspiration FM sọ pé ká jìnnà sí wà jàgídíjàgan.
We are all about the family here on Inspiration 100.5 FM.
The number one Family Radio.
All right, welcome back. Office of the Citizen on Inspiration 100.5 FM. Hashtag Nigeria decides 2019 election postponement, the costs and effects. Join the conversation I have with me here, Barrister Femi Aborishade and Mr. Sola Fagorusi. Join the conversation on 0909 888 1500, 0909 888 1500. or 0703-232-4940, 0703-232-4940. You can also send your WhatsApp messages to 080-9192-1005. Our lines are open right away. Do call us and join the conversation. All right, let me get back to Barrister Femi Aborishade. I want us to come back to the effects of the postponement of the last Saturday's election. You'll agree with me, a lot of people had to travel down. Movement. A lot of things had been in place. I'll give you an instance. In my organization here, we had sent people to places like Ibarakpa. We had sent people to places like Okeogun, to Ogbomoso, to cover the election, and money had been put in place. They slept over in those places. Perhaps if the election was postponed 3 days before, people would not have moved. What is the effect on your part?
Well, I think that from the picture you have painted, individuals, organizations actually ought to be encouraged to initiate court actions, to seek redress and seek remedies in terms of what they have lost. The effect of the postponement is enormous. When we look at it from the point of view that it was a national shutdown, there were not to be flights in and out. No movement, total movement restriction So the effects are enormous. I read from the point of view of the stock market, for example, that on that day alone, market capitalization lost 196 billion naira for that one day alone. And the same thing, would replicate itself as far as individuals and several other organizations are concerned. So people should take on, INEC, seek remedies for what they have lost.
Okay, Barrister, I'd like to quickly we'll take the headline news. Toby Olalikon is here. And when we come back, allow you complete your thoughts in that regard. All right, don't go away. The headline news comes right away.
The station that partners with your family.
Inspiration 100.5 FM. Inspiration 100.5 FM. Headline news.
Good morning, I am Oluwatobi Olalikon. United States of America moves to transfer nuclear power technologies to Saudi Arabia. Tanzania court sentences Chinese businesswoman Yang Fenlan to 15 years in jail over illegal transportation of elephant tusks. Uganda President Yoweri Museveni promotes his son to lieutenant general rank. Family of IS teenager Shamaima Begum rejects UK moves to strip her of citizenship. Acting IGP Mohammed Adamu assures Nigerians that Saturday polls will be peaceful. In business, oil prices slips over Washington's sanctions on Iran, Venezuela. In entertainment, Beijing Palace Museum, Forbidden City reopens after 94 years. And in sports, City Football Group CFG acquires China's third-tier club, Sichuan Jinyu FC. That's the headline news. Details at noon.
Family Radio.
The perfect message at the perfect moment.
Inspiration
100.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to the program, Office of the Citizen on Inspiration 100.5 FM. Of course, I like Barrister Femi Aborishade. I like him to complete his thoughts. He was telling us about the effects, cost effect of the postponement of the last Saturday election. All right, Barrister, let's hear you complete your thoughts.
Yeah. The effects could be looked at from several points of view. From the points of view, the social effect in terms of the closure of schools, many students, could not resume on the basis that elections will be holding, on the basis of the fear of insecurity. Individuals shut their shops, and there are many people in this country who cannot survive unless they go out on a daily basis. Again, on the basis of the fear of insecurity, people move from one region to another. They incur the costs in terms of transportation costs. Many are unable to go back because they are determined to stay back and vote where they registered. And for that period, they are not in business. Their businesses will suffer. And of course, we should also look at the effect in terms of the psyche of the country. That there is no system in our country. You cannot plan. The lesson that we are teaching our youths, that nothing works, and that whatever you do, you are not likely to pay for your actions. Because it does not appear to me that anybody is going to pay for what has happened in INEC. So the effects are enormous. But the critical thing is for us to encourage citizens to go to court and file actions to seek remedies for what they have lost.
All right, Office of the Citizen on Inspiration 100.5 FM. Join the conversation 0909-888-1500, 0909-888-1500, or 0703-232-4940, 0703-232-4940. I have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Dario from Marom, Academy.
All right, what's your contribution?
Good morning, Barista and the other colleagues.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, sir. My contribution is about the rule of law. I will want the barrister to examine if even the governments of Nigeria have been respecting the rule of law. As you have so analyzed that there isn't any reason for the postponement of elections except when we have war. And we have not gotten anything like that. And there are some other similar cases. This is not the first time that we have a setback on one program or the other, not respecting the law. Have they set aside the rule of law so that we know that they are no more operating the Constitution and we are not in the military government? Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. 0909-888-1500, 0909-888-1500, or 0703-232-4940, 0703-232-4940. You can send us WhatsApp messages on 080-9192-1005. Okay, I have this WhatsApp message. Why the hue and cry in Nigeria all the time? The election was halfway in 2011 when it was postponed. Heaven didn't fall. So also postponed in 2015. I'm sure it's going to repeat itself in 2023. We can only shout and cry and engage ourselves in grammar. No action. God bless Nigeria. Engineer Nicholas Adesomi from Alakia, Ibadan. All right, let me begin with you. He just talked about, the engineer just talked about us, we keep lamenting, but there is no way forward. What's your take? And let me know what your take is on the effects of the postponement.
Again, it's sad that, so the first time election was conducted in Nigeria was in 1920. We've moved on, from then to have the INEC, to have the FEC, to have the FEDECO, to have, and even now we have INEC. And, given all these years of history, one would think that by now we should have our acts together. I think the major reason why we have the hues and cry around this is, the pain of feeling that, look, this is our country. This is an embarrassment to the entire country. This is not just about, you as the INEC chairperson. This is not just about INEC as an institution. If you travel out of the country today to any other African country or to any other country in the world, once you meet another citizen there, one of the first questions they would ask you at this time is, what happened to your country? You suddenly become, you need to start defending the country. You need to start explaining. So it's not just about, INEC as an institution. I think it's a tar, on us also as citizens. So that's exactly why we have a lot of people, talking about this to say, look, we are pained that this has, had to happen. I am of the opinion that it will take a dangerously patriotic citizen who had to travel, last week to repeat that feat again, this week. A citizen that really believes that, look, I need to get myself enfranchised, despite, INEC's attempt to disenfranchise, anyone. I would have thought that by now, you would have, INEC's, you'd have vehicles all over town, new billboards being erected, possibly by INEC or through the support of several of the huge pool of development partners he already has.
National Orientation Agency.
Exactly. You would expect that these institutions will come out again, talking about, last minute strategies to make sure that everybody goes out there to get, enfranchised. But we're not seeing a lot of that. What we even saw was INEC trying to emasculate, the parties to say, look, you cannot go ahead to keep campaigning. So we're talking of 1 week of, the build up to this election, the energy, the enthusiasm, several of the young people that had not, voted before, who were for the first time going to come out there to actually vote. So for me, this is what this is about. And in terms of Okay.
Sorry, we'll take this call. Hello, good morning.
Carlos.
Oh, good morning, Office of the Citizen.
Sir?
The program is Office of the Citizen.
Carlos, sir.
Ekaro. Orúkọ yín àti ibi tẹ́ ti ń pè.
Fami Gbade Philip ni o.
Ẹ fẹ́ dá sọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí.
Bàbá gangan mo fẹ́ bá sọ̀rọ̀.
Sorry, line studio wà lélẹ̀. Ẹ pè wọ́n sí personal line wọn. All right, the program is Office of the Citizen on Inspiration 100.5 FM. All right, do call us, join the conversation, 0909-888-1500, 0909-888-1500, or 0703-232-4940, 0703-232-4940. You can also send your WhatsApp messages on 080-9192-1005. All right, let me get back to Mr. Fagorusi to complete his thoughts.
Okay, so again, in terms of, also checking, so we're saying 51% of them are under the age of 35. So I checked before coming on the program today. So Nigeria's, Alexa ranking shows very clearly that, of the top 50 sites visited by Nigerians, number 32 on that side is actually INEC's website, which again shows us a trend that people are looking for information. People are trying to confirm several things related to the election, and people are spending an average of 20 minutes on the website. Aside from that, I also checked the Google trend. So in the last 12 months, so in the month of September, in the month of January, in the month of February, we had a spike in terms of people searching for INEC related information. And what were people searching for? People were searching for information around recruitment. People are searching for why INEC postponed the election, because it defies. How do you explain this to the market woman, in Bodija market, that they said it was because they could not.
Logistics.
How do you explain that to them? And like you said, I really also think a class action suit. I don't just think it should be for citizens, who don't even understand the maze of how all of this works. I think we should have, several. I remember when, Chief Gani Fayemi was alive, he said he would take certain cases to court, not because really he wants to win or lose that case, but because he wants to draw attention to that issue. If we had that in 2011, if we had cases in 2015, peradventure INEC will not have the audacity to do this in 2019. So can we begin to see class action suit, by, legal titans coming out there to say, look, on behalf of, person A, person B, person C, we are taking INEC to court, and INEC should pay damages for so and so, that has happened. So we need to begin to see a lot around that. And beyond all of this as well, I think we should also start talking about, performance. How do we reward performances, in public offices? So he has talked about punitive measures when people do things like this. We should also start talking about, making sure that people occupy offices and their promotion or whatever it is based on performance. So, 80 million plus people, it's 7 million plus, going, as collected voters cards. So can we compare from 2011, 2015 and say, look, you get some form of, additional remuneration, for making sure that more people are actually, are coming out there to vote, And so it becomes the job of, the institution to ensure that they can partner with student union bodies. How do we ensure that people are in different locations? Again, I have said that if you can use your ATM card in different locations of the country, why can't we also figure this out to make sure that irrespective of where you are in the country, INEC says 750 people should be at the polling unit. We can factor something around this to say, look, this polling unit already we have 750 people. Go to the closest one.
Okay, I'd like to speak with. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, your name and where you're calling from.
How are you, my comrade? I'm glad to get you from Ibadan here.
All right, what's your take on the postponement? What was the experience like? Hello. All right, Comrade Badigeshin. Do call us back 0909-888-1500, 0909-888-1500, or 0703-232-4940. You can call us, tell us the experience, what it was like, of course, when you heard about the postponement of the election. Hello, good morning.
Hello, I'd like to start again.
All right, go ahead. What's your contribution? How was it like when you heard about the postponement?
This postponement is false.
Please, can you speak up? Can you speak up?
Hello, I'm speaking now. I'm still on.
Okay.
So it's not good for democracy. So we have to do something. So when the House of Assembly assemble again, we have to amend our constitution to make sure that INEC chairman do not have authority to postpone election because they have long time to prepare for election. Why postpone? Please, let's do something about it.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade Badi Geshin, for your contribution. 0909-888-1500, 0909-888-1500, or 0703-232-4940. You can send us WhatsApp messages on 0091921005. All right, let me allow you,
yes,
wrap it up.
I was talking about, performance basis. So again, you could also make a lot of difference to say, look, the number of tribunal cases in your own state, if it's the lower it is, the more, the motivation, whatever it is, remuneration, we will actually want to pay you. So until we actually begin to see, all of this happen, it might be difficult for people in offices to just think that, they can do anything with whatever kind of impunity. And I side with the caller as well, who has also clearly stated that, look, we need to sit again and look at what exactly the Electoral Act is. So interestingly, the Electoral Act has punishments recommended for everybody who violates whatever part of it.
Including it does not include INEC.
It does not include INEC itself.
Wow.
So why don't we have very clear information about this to say, look, so it should become a law? Because if I was the chairperson of a political party, if I was in the leadership of a political party this year, bet me by 2023, I will put plans in place to make sure that what if INEC postpones, what do we do?
Wow, nice one. All right, let me possibly take more calls and then allow a barrister to speak. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Emmanuel.
All right, what's your contribution? How was it like when you woke up to hear the postponement of the 16th February election?
Yeah, firstly, I want to say the president coming out and the APC talking from the party saying they are not aware about the postponement of this election is totally false. Because in a democratic nation like Nigeria, we all know that the INEC chairman can't just go on his own and the board and take a the election without the approval of the president. So, back the last call, I said we need to address our constitution. It's true, we need to address the constitution because there's one question I used to ask maybe the elders ones or my dad. I used to answer that this 1999 constitution, who are the people that drafted this constitution?
Okay.
And the question I do get, the answer I do get is that they say it's the military. And through the military, we have different kind of orders. We have the kind of a kind of laws that abide in that military regime. But this is the civilian government. We need to totally address this constitution. We know what is there for us. Maybe we are moving forward and we are going backward.
Okay.
So
thank you very much for your contribution. 0909-888-1500, 0909-888-1500, or 0703-232-4940, 0703-232-4940. You can also send us WhatsApp messages on 08091921005, 08091921005. All right, I'll pick this last call before my guest speak. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Ibadan. This is Richard.
All right, go ahead. What's your contribution?
Yeah, like that Saturday when I heard what happened, like I was very surprised. Because waking up in the morning, I was like, okay, let me go and vote. The next thing I heard that they postponed the election. So how sure are we that don't postpone it this coming Saturday?
All right.
So it's very, very bad. Like Nigeria itself is a scam.
Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution. All right, let me get back to Barrister. Barrister, I just want you to possibly react to some of those comments and tell us. Now, the postponement, can it lead to disenfranchisement, of voter apathy, or basically the enthusiasm that people had when they planned to actually participate in the last Saturday election?
Well, I think that there is the likelihood that it could cause voter apathy. Because, like my colleague here pointed out, those who had sacrificed their time, their resources to travel back to their various states. some of them may not have enough resources to stay back, in their various places where they originally registered. Some of them might have gone back, to continue their businesses, to survive. That will mean that those people are disenfranchised. Some others may be discouraged on the basis of the fear being instilled in the citizenry, particularly with the comment out of frustration, either because they could not have exercised sufficient control on INEC or whatever. The president said that security forces should shoot aside those who may be involved in ballot boxes snatching. Now, nobody accepts ballot boxes snatching or being involved in any electoral violence or offenses at all. However, we have a predetermined rule for dealing with those who snatch ballot boxes or those who engage in electoral, offenses. For example, under Section 128 of the Electoral Act, the maximum fine is 500,000 naira and 12 months imprisonment. Under Section 129 sub 4, the penalty for the specific offense of snatching electoral materials is 24 months imprisonment.
In the Electoral Act.
In the Electoral Act.
But the Constitution.
Therefore, Nigeria should not be turned into a country in which the consequences for our offenses, for our acts, the laws will be emanating from an individual, no matter how self-righteous such a person may be. That kind of statement alone, which the security office, agencies have publicly announced that they are going to implement to the fullest what the president said, could actually also discourage people from going out to vote. But I'd love to react to a comment that all we are doing is just talking, no practical action. I think we should recognize that even what we are doing, talking, condemning what is going on, is a step in the right direction. What we need to do more is to organize ourselves, come out onto the streets, protest peacefully against what we don't like and for that which we like. But to condemn what is happening in terms of talking, condemning, I'm sure even INEC would not have expected the kind of condemnation, even oral condemnation that has witnessed what INEC did. So it's a step in the right direction. Again, if parties have not organized people to come out to the streets to protest peacefully, not with violence, peacefully against, the reckless postponement, it is also a reflection that the political parties, many of the political parties, particularly the established ones, have no program for the masses. Only the very few ones that are just coming up have been addressing issues related to the welfare, of the masses. Imagine a situation in which the presidential candidates of the two major political parties do everything possible to avoid engaging in debates.
Okay. I'd like to say a big thank you to you for those comments. But before we wrap up on the program, we have a few minutes to go. I'd like to ask Mr. Fagorusi to make a few comments, basically on people that are likely going to be disenfranchised, voter party, and then we call it a day on the program.
I was excited to hear the last caller. Apparently, he's a young person, so I didn't just hear his voice. I also heard his emotion. You can feel the pain. I want to encourage him and several other young people out there to vote and not fight. I want to encourage them to actually go out and do what they need to do. Again, I also want to say it's important that our institutions continue to be independent. The statement by the president was absolutely wrong. There are no two ways to say it. I would have expected the National Human Rights Commission to come out and identify that statement as a hate and dangerous speech coming from the leadership of this country. This is what we should see from our institution. Independence, at the fact that they can actually make their own decisions without fear of whoever is in power. Aside from this as well, I think INEC was also costing on to, organizing a free and fair election in terms of the quality of work we have seen them put in place, before this cancellation of the election. The cancellation, the postponement rather of the election, the postponement of the election erodes confidence in INEC, which it needs to quickly again go back to the table and build. INEC does not need to wait at this point for people to come to it, for information. He needs to be the one going out, asking for radio stations, asking for television stations to grant them more time to speak and engage with people, not the other way around this time around, simply because of what has happened.
Note, I'd like to say a big thank you to my guests who have been with me on the program, Barrister Femi Aborishade, a human rights lawyer and activist, and Mr. Sola Fagorusi, the Executive Director of One Life Initiative. Thank you so very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
I am Jadisola Jibola. I'll be seeing you next week on Office of the Citizen. And right now, the world news comes shortly. Don't go away.